People who have crapped themselves during their adult life. What happened? A couple weeks ago I woke with an upset tummy. My thinking was it's probably just gas or indigestion. While I'm in the kitchen with my brother getting ready for breakfast, I feel a fart coming on. So of course I'm going to let it out, but sadly it was not a fart, and I was wearing pajamas, and I went down my legs, and my brother was disgusted. So I guess you need to change your username now. My poor daughter has IBS, and when she has a go with it she calls it the badger, as she says she imagines badger claws scratching her insides. Poor girl is coming flying through the door on many occasions in her hurry to get to the toilet. She takes no prisoners at these moments. My mother-in-law shoots herself regularly. In fact, it has become so common that she is no longer as shy about it as she should be and will announce it to everyone nearby. The first conversation she had with my parents was about how she crapped herself the day before and was so humiliated. Then why are you telling them? She was preparing them for future shoots. This is a very real fear of mine. One of the main reasons I will never live in a high-rise. The idea of making it so close to your home only to have to wait for an elevator other people while you're holding it in terrifies me. I once worked at a Route 21 where my boss said that if I ever shat my pants, I could go home. I asked, even if I did it on purpose, and he said that would be impressive and sure. So one day I didn't want to be there. I was tagging shirts in the back and took a moment to just stand there and try to crap my pants. I wanted to go home, but goddamn. My body wouldn't let me. It knew it was weird and gross to just stand there and crap my pants. I worked the whole shift. I have also not shat myself on multiple occasions. We have great stories, you and I. Went to see Sis Pizza with the fam. My buddy and I go to Party City, halfway through eating and get fart pills and other cheap pranks. Cue to me taking said pills. No problems eating. We head out, and on the 30-minute drive home, farting non-stop. My mom is easygoing, but she made me hang my butt out the window. Safety first, eh? We finally get home. My body doesn't back down to the challenge of making as many stinky farts as it possibly can before quitting. So I think it's super funny to run around my friend in the computer chair, farting. You antagonize him. We are just having a good time. Laughs all around. So I save up for maybe 2 minutes to get a nice one for him. I decide to run up beside his face, pull my boxers down, spread my cheeks, and unleash the balloon factory that are my insides. The fuck up. My farts had been dry all night, no question about it, but something evil and soupy happened in that 2 minutes, and I gave him a nice little butt sneeze right on the lower half of his face. Froze, turned around to look, and ran straight to the shower. Yeah, we don't talk anymore. I'm sorry, Michael. Really bad food poisoning. Needed to puke. And as I knelt by the altar of the porcelain god, offering my stomach contents to his glory, the vomit cramps in my stomach caused the geezer from the other end as well. Was not fun cleaning up, especially as I was already puking. Spent the night prior binge drinking cheap beer and proceeded to wolf down half a White Castle Crave case. The next day, driving on my way to work, took too much liberty in trusting a fart, thankfully near a Walgreens, and had to pull in to use the facilities. It had leaked through my black pants. So I tossed my underwear, wrapped up in crappy one-ply public toilet paper to the best of my ability, no pun intended, washed up as best as I could in the bathroom, yet still had to go home to change. Back in those days I was pretty not good at being on time, constantly calling my work saying I'd be late for some reason or another. So, as you can imagine, my boss wasn't completely thrilled when I called and wanted to know why I'd be late again. In all the commotion of having crapped my pants as a grown adult woman, I just blurted out, I know I always have some dumb excuse why I'm late, but I swear to you I just crapped myself while driving and have to go home for new pants. I was confused as to why my boss was silent, then realized she couldn't speak because she was laughing too hard. I didn't live that down the rest of the time I was with that company. Sadly, before positing this I had to ask myself which story should I tell. So in college a few years ago, senior year, it was a wonderful day outside, so a buddy and I decide we should play some tennis. We were about 2 sets in when my body alerted me that I had to go. I however didn't listen to my body and continued to play. Mistake. About 15 minutes later, I had to stop playing and find a bathroom, and fast. Unfortunately, we were on a part of campus that I had rarely visited. It was our school's oldest and most prestigious building. So I scurry to the door, no clue where the bathroom is. Panic sets in. I am now sweating more from this panic than I was playing tennis. I start scoping out plants and water fountains I can crap behind. I find one plant that is large and extra appealing. As I begin to pull my pants down, I see across from what was to be a crap covered plant, a bathroom. I throw the door open and pull my pants down. Sadly, the stall was about 5 feet too far. I crap on the floor. I eventually made it to the toilet, but by then the damage was done. I was of legal drinking age and yet could not crap in the toilet. I tried to clean up as best I could, but I imagine the janitor that found that came very close to quitting that day. Needless to say, we did not continue the tennis match and I did not ever step foot in that building again. Probably the same as most, but here it is anyway. Back when I could still physically crap myself. Another story for another time. My team at work went out for lunch to the local sushi joint. Fun times and copious amounts of overeating was had, and everyone left joyous and stuffed with raw fish. Things were going alright with me, until around 2 hours later when I had an uncomfortable, terrible feeling in my stomach. I knew what was going down one way, but fate had another plan for me that day. As I sprinted to the washroom, I had a decision to make. Hope that my sphincter was able to clench, or throw up all over the floor. In a panicked state of affairs, I chose the vomit end. I barely made it into the stall before the fury of my stomach was vocalized. The moment of truth had come about, but alas, the force in which I was vomiting and my abdomen was clenching was too much. I crapped myself. At work, the only saving grace was H&M used to sell superhero themed boxer briefs, and I happened to be rocking good old Captain America that day. In his final duty of service, he contained the disaster that was happening in my back end, and kept my pants clean and scent free. I quickly cleaned up and gave the captain one last salute as he was jammed into the bottom of the garbage, and I quickly made my escape. RIP Captain. Thank you for everything. My 30th birthday, the missus decided to invite all of my friends and their other halves to a posh local Indian restaurant. Feeling all joyful and excited at being surrounded by my loved ones, the brazen no-holds-bar inner dickhead was released. I opted for a highly spiced crab curry, which is an insane decision on the basis that seafood doesn't agree with me, and mixing that with high spice levels can only end up in trouble. Food is eaten, bulls is chatted, and the bill is settled. Onto the local boozer for a few nightcaps. One whiskey deep and I can feel my guts spinning. It's a washing machine meets cement mixer hybrid meat grinder. I can feel every drop of chili oil mixing. I quickly make my way to the nearest toilet, but being a semi-rural area pub, the toilets are less than ideal. Covered in pee, no shitrug, and what remains of a door hanging off its hinges. I live just down the road, a 5-minute walk at a casual pace. I decide that this is the option I need to take. With every step I take, it feels like my butthole is winking, a gaping hole overflowing with chili line Agent Orange like crap. I have to squeeze my ass cheeks together and make a power waddle home. I get through the entrance of my building and go to take the stairs to my first floor apartment, but I can't. My hole is opening wider with every step. I opt for the lift. I make my way through my door and head for the main bathroom and realize this is a mistake, as everybody will be heading here after the pub. And sweet it is. I moonwalk through my bedroom, open the door, and the sight of my armored shanks throne is too much for my quivering starfish to take. I instantly evacuate my guts as I'm pulling down me jocks. Liquid shite sprays at unfathomable angles. It hits the door, the shower cubicle, the wall, the towel rail, and it's all down the back of the toilet, in the hinge system of the toilet lid. I plonk myself off my crap smothered toilet seat and just try to finish. After what seems an eternity of passing anal based lava, I sense that all demons have been exorcised. I spend an age clearing up countless loo rolls and any absorbing materials, costume change, and back to the pub. I'm greeted with questions of my whereabouts. I sink another drink and the same thing happens. The exact same disgusting scenario happened, but this time I spent so long in there and felt so unwell that I just waited at home. Few of my friends turned up a while later and stated that I looked horrific, which I did. It turns out that I have IBS, I have a story of me getting caught short on the way home from a boozer and having to crap down by the side of a brook, hanging from a tree branch like a monkey with my dong tucked between my legs, pee like a sprinkler system. I'm an awful person. I've crapped my pants as an adult a few times. The most recent was a few weeks ago. I'm 18 weeks pregnant at the time and begin vomiting uncontrollably at home, then at work. Then I decide I better go to the emergency room. So I'm sent right into a room and they begin poking and prodding me for blood work and attempt to get an IV in my hand. I tell them please stop for a minute, I'm going to pass out, and of course they tell me to relax. This brings on the biggest wave of vomit yet, and I crap myself. The more I puke the more I crap. It was awful. Those poor nurses. Anyways, they get me all cleaned up and a diaper on me. LOL. When my husband is finally able to get to the hospital, I'll look at him with tears in my eyes and say I crap my pants and I'm wearing a diaper. He laughs and says he still loves me. He's the best. Turns out I had a gastrointestinal bug. I thought I was going to die. Desperate for a crap. I tried squatting behind my friend's house. The dump fell straight into my pants, so I inadvertently crapped myself. Really had to go before work, but figured I could hold it for the 30-minute commute. Hit a wall of traffic that delayed me an extra 30 minutes, and held eye contact with the guy in the car next to me as I released into a spare shirt I had in the back seat. Finally, a nurse credit I have experience with. Back in college I pounded energy drinks and eventually developed ulcers. I went to the doctor after I crapped what ended up being the lining of my stomach. It was one step away from being Venta Black, with a little bit of blood. The kicker was I did it while in class. Rather than waddle out and try to avoid detection, I just told my professor, in front of the class, that I had just crapped my pants so he wouldn't fight me on why I needed to leave. Better to just get the heck out of Dodge. Was in Afghanistan and has a horrible stomach for like 2 days. So down at the motor pool and I refused to use the porta potty, so I tried to make it to the indoor bathroom. Halfway across the motor pool and it hits my colons. Dang, just haven't I started spewing hot liquid crap. No matter how hard I clenched, it kept spitting out my butthole as I waddled to the bathroom. I've crapped myself a few other times. I do okay for myself money wise, but have been thinking of ways to save more money as well as eat more nutritiously. Last week I made a big pot of black beans with bacon and onion that I was to eat for lunch in creative ways during the week. It obviously gave me gas the first day, but not that much. On the second day there was no gas at all, which I immediately found suspicious. Later on day 2 I was doing dishes and felt a fart coming. There it is, I thought to myself. So I farted with the confidence of 1,000 high school football players, and turns out that was the wrong move. I had indeed crapped my pants badly for the first time in my adult life. Black bean remnants everywhere. This happened last summer. We still laugh about it. My boyfriend had been out of town for like 3 weeks. The day he got back we had an evening together planned. I made a beautiful charcuterie board for dinner. We had some wine, and we ended the evening with a nice walk downtown through a small Japanese garden. I should mention that the pagoda at the Japanese garden has 4 Pokestops in one small area, and there are constantly 50+ people walking around catching Pokemon. We've been living together for long enough that farting, pooping, and talking about farting and pooping is pretty much a constant thing, and we're definitely more comfortable than we should be. As we were sitting on a cute little stone bench in the middle of the garden talking, I felt like I needed to have a little toot. I leaned towards my boyfriend so I wasn't farting at him. That would be rude, right? What I thought was a little toot was actually a forceful stream of butt pee. My horror at what had just happened immediately appeared on my face, and he knew right away. His eyes got huge and he said seriously and started laughing at me. He went to the car to get some baby wipes while I sat there still on the bench in a puddle of my own crap. It was a lot more crap that I initially realized, and I was wearing a dress. People were still walking by catching Pokemon, and 2 different people commented on how it smelled like crap right there. I was afraid to get up in case there was a brown stain on the stone bench. Like 15 minutes later my boyfriend returned with baby wipes, still laughing at me. During a small break in Pokemon traffic I made it to the bathroom and got myself cleaned up as much as I could. There was definitely a bit of a poop stain on the stone bench, but I was too mortified to return to the scene of the crime, so we just left it. I still feel kind of bad about that. I think it rained the next day though, so let's just call it good. TLDR. Went on a date with my boyfriend. Tried to fart. Gooped my pants on a rock. Dengue fever while on holiday with no travel health insurance. Though it was less fecal matter and more a mixture of bile and blood. The worst part was probably the burst capillaries. Everything was just so freaking itchy and I was out of it. The antihistamines kept me up for about 28 hours straight, which didn't help. Thankfully I was visiting family and wasn't alone on that trip. I still don't know exactly how much the hospital bill was, except that it was on the order of several thousand. But I do make a point of being extremely thankful every time Mother's Day comes around. I was fat darting and was looking up cleanses. Found one that said drink a tablespoon of olive oil on an empty stomach. I was like, okay, sounds easy enough. Well, took the shot. Almost threw up. Straight olive oil is 100x worse than it sounds. 15 minutes later all heck broke loose. I thought my intestines were going to fall out of my butt. I threw away the underwear I was wearing. Please don't do the olive oil cleanse. Tried to fart on my wife's leg in bed one night. Sharted on her and the bed sheets instead. I thought it was hilarious. She was not amused at all. I got a parasite called Cryptosporidium because I ate a guy's butt and he wasn't clean. Ended up crapping myself and spending 5 days in the hospital. Had to come out to my parents because the doctor said most people who are hospitalized by this parasite are HIV positive gay men. Turns out I just have a really weak immune system. Salmonella poisoning during the Peter Pan peanut butter outbreak. Puking out the front end and explosive diarrhea out the other. Rushed to the bathroom to throw up. I had a strong urge to take a crap. Made a decision to crap in my pants instead of puke all over the bathroom. It was freaking terrible. This right here is exactly why it's mandatory in my home to keep a trash can next to the toilet. I had the worst shoots of my life 2 years ago. Lasted for nearly 3 weeks. I assumed at first it was just the shoots from bad food, but as time went on, never stopping, I then accepted it was something far worse and accepted that it was my fate to die via crapping my innards out. I had the most terrible stomachache after each crap and had to keep running to the toilet every 20 minutes. The cycle repeating consistently, all day for 3 weeks. I couldn't even sleep properly because had to keep going to the toilet. Watery poop comes out, wipe my butt raw, go to bed, have the stomach ache, keep rolling in bed, go to toilet again, wipe butt raw and so on. Crap myself 3 times during that 3-week period. The tiniest of farts led to little droplets of watity poo in my underwear. You know how they tell you to not drink the water in foreign lands? Didn't listen. Was taking a pee at a urinal and the floodgates on the opposite side of the water bank opened up. Oddly enough, happened again the next time I went out of the country. Was sitting at the table eating breakfast and farted. Turned out to be a shot. Me and my dad yard sale on weekends for fun. One Saturday, we had my dad's friend with us and we were all pretty hungry. Decided to take a break and go to McDonald's. Bad move. Food poisoning ensued and on the way to the next yard sale, there was a load in my pants the size of a loaf of bread. I went to smoke hookah with my friend one night and had basically, heavily, sharted myself. Hookah usually makes my head hurt, but the place we go to packs the bowl real dang well, plus I love the feeling that hookah gives you. Anyway, one day instead of making my head hurt, it makes me want to crap myself. So I rushed to the men's bathroom, and no toilet paper. I went to the women's bathroom, but I could not destroy it in out of good consciousness. So I returned to the men's bathroom and I got lucky that at least the seat was left up and there is no evidence of pee on it, dry or otherwise. I sit my butt down and unleash heck onto the toilet. The kind of heck that crap sprayed on the backside of the toilet bowl and some on the water tank. The kind of crap you need to wear gloves for due to the chemicals you'll need to use. As I am done crapping, it dawns upon me that I did not grab the toilet paper from the women's bathroom. At this point I am contemplating whether I should call my friend to get it and lose my dignity in the process. I say frick that crap. I use my underwear to wipe. Well, I had those $35 a pair of Under Armour briefs on, so the stingy bastard in me said nah, use the socks. The socks I used. So I get both socks off, I put my hand into one of them and wholeheartedly wipe my butt with my sock, while my hand is still in it. I then retrieve my crap-soaked sock from the depth of my butt crack, covered in shoots type crap. I use my left index and middle finger inside the sock and take it off like they taught me in biology class so many years ago. The second sock was used to store the crap-covered sock. The socks were then placed in my pant pocket, and later thrown into the dumpster outside, to which I sneakily walked out through the back door. Dignity maintained. I was invited to lunch with some friends, and we all decided upon Skyline chili. I always get the large 3-way and load it down with hot sauce. Anyone who has ever had Skyline knows the song your gut starts singing about halfway through the meal. Now, I am one of those people who will avoid crapping in public at all costs, but sometimes it is unavoidable. We finish our meal, say our goodbyes, and I head into the bathroom. I open the door and I am greeted by crap smeared on the toilet lid. I promptly exit and try to tell myself that I can make it home. I exit the lot and drive about halfway home before I realize that I have now found myself in standstill traffic. At this moment in time, my stomach is rolling and my butthole is throbbing. I know that my self-control can only take me so far, so I grab some leftover McDonald's napkins out of my glove box and McJaver a maxi pad for my butthole to help soak some of the inevitable fart juice that will soon be exiting my body. As I begin to tie-dye my poopy pad, I am finally getting off the exit by my house. I'm gonna make it. I am convulsing as I pull onto my street, only to realize that my brother, his girlfriend, and some of her sorority sisters are over at our house. At this point, I realize that it is do or die. I hop out of my car, penguin walk to the front door and, hands shaking, I reach for my keys. I am home free. I fumble for my door key, and in slow motion, they fall from my sweaty fingers. I have no way to get in without those keys, and I am not ringing the doorbell. I bend over to pick up my keys, and though it burns a little, I am met with relief as a warm, runny mess caresses my thighs, calves, ankles. I open the door, praying that it isn't as bad as I think, but wow, I have to go in, strip, and take a shower immediately. I just throw my clothes in the middle of the tile floor in the bathroom and hop in the shower. When I am done cleaning, I realize that I don't have a towel. I hop out, beeline to the laundry closet, and before I can make it back, I hear gagging. One of the sorority sisters found my mess and, with tears in her eyes, she was fighting back the urge to vomit all over my crap trousers. Stammering, I don't know what I could even say. She went upstairs, and a few moments later, I heard laughter from the whole group. She left shortly thereafter and I never saw her again. My whole family jokes about me crapping my pants now. TLDR. I ate Skyline chili, dropped my keys when I made it home, and as I bent over to pick them up, crap my pants. Chick found my crappy clothes, told friends and family before leaving forever. As an IB sufferer who has not yet shat themselves in public, I'm reading this thread with a mix of sympathetic nodding and looming fear. Not me but my good friends. We all work together and Bob, we will call him, asked Lisa on a date. They go out and they are having a decent time. Now Bob had an old bench seat single cab pickup. Lisa got sick on the date but didn't want to cut the date short. She was shy and really wanted to go out with Bob. At the end of the night, Bob goes to drop off Lisa, and when she adjusts to get out the cab, boom, she erupts liquid diarrhea from under her skirt. Bob swore to secrecy that he would never tell anyone. So OFC, he tells us the next day at work that he spent most of the night hosing out his truck's leather bench seat and gagging. Oddly enough, they went on a second date like 8 months later and now they are married with kids. So ladies, if you really like a guy, just saying, I have never known it to not work out. Okay, it wasn't me but my wife. You see, the entire family got a nasty stomach flu. My wife, me and our 18-month-old son. The day began alright but it quickly turned bad around lunchtime. It was my wife's third trip to the can. She knew something worse was coming. About dinner time the barfing came and the first pants crapping. She was vomiting in the toilet when it struck. Unfortunately she was wearing tight jeans. It was a mess. At that point she was almost completely crippled by the sickness and managed to take a quick shower and get to bed while I cleaned her clothing, which I offered to do. A few hours later I started to feel off and had to visit the toilet a few times. While in the can I hear coughing from our room, then vomiting, followed by frick. So she ran into the bathroom to finish and shower too. I again cleaned up. Now our son is crying, so I go in and pick him up. I am telling him is alright, I know how you feel etc etc. As I am saying this, a torrent of vomit is passing from his mouth to mine. He is terrified now as this is his first time being sick and vomiting. So I spit out the vomit and continue to comfort him. Mid-sentence and mouth agape I get the second volley and it tasted worse than the first. Could the day get any shittier, I asked myself. Well, it's about 11 PM and my wife had consigned herself to a new existence of living attached to the toilet while continuously barfing into a waste basket. As she filled one, I would bring another to swap out. Around 11:30 PM she started getting very pale and wobbly. We decided it's time to go there. She had been shooting liquids out both ends continuously for the past 6 hours and is begging to just die. I packed her side of the car with lots of towels and buckle her in. The hospital is only 10 miles away and we are on the last leg when I hit a speed bump and the third sharpening happened. Finally we get to the hospital and they gave her a room and IV full of fluids, pain just killers and anti-nausea drugs. She spent 12 hours in the ER and to this day I don't know how many times she crapped that bed, and at this point I am too afraid to ask. Over the summer, my family decided they wanted to go on a hike and they settled on this place called Rattlesnake Ledge. I complained because I had been there many times and I tried to tell them it was nothing special. Little did I know, I had angered the rattlesnake god. For those who do not know, the hike is basically a series of switchbacks and there's really no place off the trail unless you want to tumble off sheer cliffs. This detail will be important later on. We went all the way to the top of the mountain and had some sandwiches for lunch, and that when it hit me, that feeling in your stomach where you feel like you have 30 seconds before you unload a hot, wet mess. The only problem was, the nearest restroom was all the way at the bottom. I started breaking out in cold sweats and I weakly told my parents that I would meet them at the bottom of the mountain. I started walking slowly, clenching my butt cheeks trying to hold the flow back, but I realized that wasn't really doing much. So I started jogging down the mountain. This turned into a full-on sprint. Tears started streaming down my face as my arms pumped and my feet pounded the ground. I knew I wasn't going to make it. I had probably made it only a quarter of the way down when I shat my pants horribly. It was a moment of relief followed by a lifetime of embarrassment. I waddled down the mountain, with my cheeks stinging, feeling the gaze from everyone who passed by me and smelled the awfulness coming from my pants. I could feel brown liquid running down my leg, but I ignored it. At one point, I saw a small ledge a little of the trail and I saw my chance to clean myself up. I went onto this small ledge and started stripping, but then I heard another family coming to presumably take pictures. In my panic, I tried to throw my underwear off the mountain, but I only managed to get it stuck on the branch above me. After what seemed like hours, I managed to get to the bottom and I had to wait until my family came back down. On the ride back, they put all the way in the back of the car, windows down, air fresheners held to their noses. When we got home, my dad ordered me to get out of the car and hosed me down in the front yard like some animal. I've never been back there since. Not me, but I once knew a man in college, so early 20s, that had crap himself upwards of 5 times in adulthood. I kept telling him he needed to get checked out for it, but he felt like it was a somewhat funny quirk about himself and didn't sweat it. Baffles me to this day. Trusted a fart after a night of drinking and fast food. My butthole spent its, and my, entire life building up my trust, and it shattered in an instant. That's what you get for trusting in butthole. Not me, but yesterday my partner and I went for our first multi-pitch climb of the season. He was moaning a bit on the first pitch and by the time he made it to the top of the second pitch he was visually distressed. I started climbing the third pitch and got to the top and set up belay. He took an extremely long time to begin the climb and I was beginning to get worried as the rope had been taut for 5 minutes at this point with no upward movement. Turns out he farted and crap his pants. 300 feet up the side of a rock wall. He had tied his end of the rope to a boulder while he continued to crap on the edge of a cliff and wipe up with some moss. Ate 2-day-old shrimp as a work lunch. Felt my butthole loosen and leak mid-transaction. Asked to go home. Had to really fight. Eventually got out. I commute every day. Home was a 30 minutes drive away. Get home. Step out of truck. Stand on both feet out of vehicle. Crap stains on my socks before I even know what's happened. Normally crapping your pants is enough, but there's more to this story. My girlfriend is on the phone with her boss on an important call and asked not to be interrupted. I trusted a fart while sick and crapped my pants, some of it making its way through to the computer seat. After cleaning myself up and getting out of the bathroom, I come back to find her sitting on my computer on the phone. I plead with her to get out of the seat, but she just thinks I am being an butthole and wanting to use the computer. She ended up walking around the house with crap on her pants and sitting in different places, angry with me for trying to do the sign language for crap on your pants at her. Had a dream an alien was trying to crawl up my butt. Think dream catcher. So I tried to push it out, and I crapped my bed. Also was up at Mount Baker Ski Resort peeing in a urinal. Went to let out a fart, and liquid crap just cascaded into my underwear. I waddled into the nearest stall, took off my boxers, tried to flush them, and clogged the toilet with them. Geez, isn't there anybody in their 50s on this thread? 3 words. Colonoscopy preparation Moviprep. You drink that crap. Don't get further than 10 feet from a toilet. It'll come out like a fire hose, and keep coming until you swear you were crapping meals from the future. This is certainly not one of my proudest moments, but it has become a favorite story amongst my girlfriends. After a night of excessive and underage drinking, I woke up in the wee hours of the morning and puked all over myself. I was still pretty buzzed, so I made a half-assed attempt to clean myself up. I stripped off my clothes and put on some one-piece footy pajamas, full commando underneath. Like a big, drunk toddler, I stumbled back to bed. I woke up again a few hours later to nurse my hangover. I made the ill-fated decision to trust a fart. Take a moment to imagine farting in footy pajamas, the kind with plastic on the bottom of your feet. But while the mess was contained, I had to slosh to the bathroom in my own crap. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.